I only read one book, but it's a good book, don't you know? I act the way I act because the good book tells me so. If I want to know how to be good, it's to the good book that I go. Because the good book is a book, and it is good, and it's a book.
And Abraham journeyed from thence towards the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar, for he had got bored with where he did pitch his tent, and with the destruction of the whole valley of Sinar, over which he did look, the view was not as what it had been, now that the whole place was charred, and did smell of burnt rubber. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister, and her Abimelech, king of Gerar, whose name is spelt nothing like it is pronounced, and in this narrative is pronounced nothing like it is supposed to be, sent and took Sarah, in a pattern that was somehow eerily similar to the last time Abraham had gone on his travels, only that time into Egypt. However, as Sarah was knocking on into her 90s, there was something about this that few would pick up on that just wasn't quite right. But God, who remembered how he had fucked up the last time by leaping into action without thinking when Abraham did last pull this little stunt, came to her Abimelech in a dream by night, whispering sweet nothings into his ear while he slept, and said unto him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. And lo, that did get his attention, and he did soil himself, and wet the bed. But her Abimelech had not come near her, which was just as well, and quite understandable for any man of his years, for she was knocking on nearly 100 years old, and though she did possess all her own teeth, she did smell of wee, and did think that Dale Winton on X Factor was such a nice young man, and did wonder why he hadn't yet got himself a nice girlfriend, and she did wonder why everyone on X Factor did call him Simon. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation, one who is hospitable to strangers, and does not try to bugger the living daylights out of them? Said he not unto me, She is my sister, and she, even she herself, said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and in innocency of my hands have I done this, for it must surely be that pair of lying bastards who are to blame for telling me so, for I art not a bloody mind-reader. And God said unto him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou did this in the integrity of thy heart, for thou art not the first sucker that they have tried this exact same thing on, for thou art not usually expecting a brother and sister to be married to one another. For I also withheld thee from sinning against me, giving thee the heads up in advance, for the last time I ended up giving the Pharaoh of all Egypt a terrible rash that wouldn't go away. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Now, therefore, restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, who does profit rather well from not us telling people like us yourself that he did marry his sister. And he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, and I can not as think of any good reason why thou would want to take us a 90-year-old woman as your wife, lest thou should have a lot of knitting that needeth be done, or thee doth want some one to look after thy cats, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all of thine. But if as thou art thinking that thou art a young man, and she is old enough to be thy grandmother, nay, your great-great-great-great-grandmother, and it is most likely that she will die a lot sooner than thou, I wouldn't as put any money on that, if thou catchest my drift. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning, for he did wake while dreaming about old ladies with false teeth and a purple rinse, wearing nothing but wrinkled stockings and pea-stained canvas underwear, and called he all his servants, and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid, for they did fear that they too would be cursed with this affliction. Then Abimelech called Abraham, and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not be done. And Abraham did say that he had not done anything of that kind, and maybe he was getting him mixed up with his nephew Lot, who did live at one time in Sodom. And Abimelech, who suddenly did realize what Abraham did mean, and did call for a robe, for he was still stood around in his underwear, with a raging hard-on, said unto Abraham, What sawest thou, that thou hast done this thing? And Abraham said, Because I thought, Surely the fear of God is not in this place, and therefore I thought that I should put it up there hence. And they will slay me for my wife's sake, for surely, had I told them that I was married to my sister, the people of this place would certainly have beaten me with sticks and chased me off into the desert, for being a dirty old man, a hypocrite, and an inbred retard, who doth berate others for immoral acts, while at the same time indulging in that ancient pastime of incest, that doth be a game that all the family can enjoy. And yet, indeed, she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. For though the former is fucked up in more ways than one, the latter would just be plain wrong, and we would just have difficulty getting a PG rating. And lo, had we also shared the same mother, then surely we would have regretted those moments of passionate embrace, when one day, in the future, after I had been bested by my greatest foe, he would reveal unto me that he was indeed my true father, and offer me a place beside him, so that we may rule the galaxy together as father and son. And she became my wife, for our family do possess a bucket for a gene pool, and we do like to fill it no more than half full. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness which thou shalt show unto me. And I did get some of the servant girls to instruct her in giving blowjobs. And I did say, At every place whither we shall come, say of me, Here is my brother. And the rulers of these places will drag you off, and give unto me sheep and oxen, and men servants and woman servants, before giving you back to me, rather than a good kicking and casting us both into a well. I mean, I do understand why such a plan would have worked when we did first start out, for she did dress up as a schoolgirl with knee-high stockings, a short skirt, pigtails, and a bone through her nose. And when they did take her home, the Lord would appear unto them, and offer them a seat over there. But as dude, she is but not a day under 90 fucking years old. What as were you thinking? If as thou did bang that, thou wouldst surely break it in half. Man, that is nasty, and quite some perversion before the Lord thou hast there. And Abimelech took sheep, and oxen, and men servants, and woman servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. And did say unto Abraham, I art sure that nobody wouldst need to hearest about this. And Abraham did say unto Abimelech, Herb, for I cannot call thou Herb, surely. See, what as I thinkest I would need would be for something to take us my mind off the situation. Like if I was to be concentrating so hard on something, like something over there, I might be so busy with it that all that has happened over here would surely flee my memory. And Abimelech said, catching his drift, Behold, my land is before thee. Dwell where it pleases thee. And Abraham did say unto Abimelech that the land did look like very nice land, and that just the thought of it had made him completely forget about everything that they had just been talking about. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes, unto all that are with thee, and with all other, and I trust that all will agree, that this never happened, and nobody did see anything. Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech, and his wife, and his maidservants, and they bare children. For Abimelech did no longer find that he did only have a staff of iron within his grasp, when he did think of little old ladies. For the Lord had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife, but mainly because Abimelech did only allow into his house women who did walk with the aid of a walking frame, whose childbearing years were many years hence, for he did like them that way. And the Lord did visit Abraham, as he did sit in his tent on his new patch of land, on the nice side of town, that did have all the best views, as he did count his 1,000 pieces of silver, his new sheep and oxen, and survey the many men-servants and woman-servants he had gained. And he did say unto him, Dude, this hath got to stop. Thou hast to cut this shit out. Thy art the father of nations, and someone who will one day be looked towards as an example of great morality. Thy cannot continue to go round to all of the neighbouring countries telling their rulers that thy wife is thy sister, and letting them run off with her, even if she is, and expect to get away with it, and to keep coming out of it with great riches. For thou hast got lucky this time, and although I am eternal, and ever-present, the next time I might not be there to scare the bejesus out of the next sucky I pick, so as that he doth not cut us thy balls off, make us thy eat them, and hang thee from the nearest lamp-post. And Abraham did look unto the Lord, who had by this time helped himself to a couple of cans of lager and a plate of spare ribs from Abraham's fridge, and did ask the Lord exactly what rules he was breaking by doing so. And the Lord did think for a moment, and they did say unto Abraham in a loud booming voice that did wake the neighbours, sounding as it did as if it was coming from the clouds on high, that thou shalt not bear false witness. And Abraham did mull this over for a while, and then did remark unto the Lord that that one was quite catchy, and that the Lord should consider writing that one down.